I'd like to call to order a special meeting of the Board of Directors, Board of Trustees of the McAllen Independent School District being held today, Wednesday, May 15th, 2019. It is 5:30 and we're meeting in the boardroom of the administration building. The only item on today's agenda is the canvassing of the May 4th, 2019 Board of Trustees election results for places 1, 2, 4, and 5. I'll pass the mic to, before I do that though, however, I'd like to announce that Trustee Farina is in the meeting via telephone. Mr. Farina, you'd like to say hello?
Hello to everyone there. My apologies for not being able to be there.
Hello is enough, but we'll take the rest. Thank you. I'll pass the mic to Dr. Gonzalez so that he can introduce the presentation. Dr. Gonzalez.
Yes, sir, Mr. President. As per policy BBBB legal, two members of the Board of Trustees constitute a quorum for purposes of canvassing an election. And Mr. Todd Miller will lead us through the process, along with Mr. John Wilby. We also have Yvonne Ramon here with us this evening. Thank you for being here, Ms. Ramon. And this evening, we will be requesting action on this item. Mr. Miller.
Thank you. On May 4th, 2019, the McAllen Independent School District held a Board of Trustee election for places 1, 2, 4, and 5. As required by policy BBB legal, the board shall canvass the returns at the time set by the presiding officer, not earlier than the 3rd day or later than the 11th day after election day. In place 1, Juan Johnny Cano received 1,649 ballots, or 30.55%. Mr. Marco Suarez received 3,749, or 69.45%, for a total vote for place 1 of 5,398. For place 2, Lindsay Guerra received 2,247 ballots, or 41.49%. Conrad Ito Alvarado got 3,169 ballots for 58.51%, for a total of 5,416 ballots. For place 4, Tony Farino received 2,759, or 50.11% of the ballots. Gina Caramillan received 2,747 votes for 49.89%, for a total ballots for place 4 of 5,506. For place 5, Don Delaney received 814 ballots for 15.14%. Daniel Danny Vella received 4,562 votes for 84.86%, for a total ballots of 5,376. Administration is recommending that the Board of Trustees canvass the May 4, 2019 Board of Trustee election results for places 1, 2, 4, and 5.
Thank you, Mr. Miller. Ms. Ramon, do you have anything that you would like to add this evening before we?
Just thank you, everything. Thank you so much, and just a thank you and a welcome back. As I say every time I come, I could not do the job that I do without the experience that I had throughout my years here with McAllen ISD. So I am forever grateful and miss education a lot, even though that's carried over. So everything went well, and as you can see by the canvass results, one thing that does have to be mentioned, of course, and you will do that in a little bit, is what will be happening on Friday.
We appreciate the efforts of the election department. They did great, except for one little tiny hiccup that we lost at Lark for an hour or so. Other than that, everything went off without a hitch, and we certainly appreciate the efforts of the election department. You all have maintained the utmost professionalism, and you all have been great to work with.
Thank you.
Thank you all.
Thank you.
I think it just came out of that place.
If I may, Mr. President?
Yes, go ahead.
I just wanted to say, Mr. Ramon, thank you. And what I really liked about it is that our voters could vote anywhere within the county. And I was pleasantly surprised to find that many of our residents took advantage of that. They worked in Edinburgh. They went ahead and went to Edinburgh, where they're in different parts. Once they found out, that made it easier. Even on election day, they went to the wrong places, but they weren't turned away. So I'd like that feature.
Thank you for mentioning that, because as you may know, we are a county that is now called countywide. We went through a pilot program, and then our Commissioners Court went ahead and approved that as a permanent status. What that does to our May elections is allow every voter to also have their ballot available at any of the polling locations that are open, as long as we're administering that election. So yes, we have had no one turned away that will find themselves at 6:45, 6:50, 6:55 at the wrong poll location. There is no such thing. Thank you for that.
No problem. Thank you. Every vote did count this time. Or all the time.
In accordance with election code, and section is section 212.033, we are required to make a notation that for place 4, there has been a petition for recount. And that, I believe that, well, I don't. I know that recount will take place on Friday, this Friday morning at 9 a.m. All parties have been notified, committee members have been appointed, and they have accepted. And as far as the school district goes, we are ready to proceed from our end, and I know that the elections department is ready from their end. Both candidates have prepared their teams, and they are also ready to go for Friday morning. So we should go off without a hitch on Friday morning, Mr. Ramon, Mr. Miller, Mr. Wilde. All right.
Just
Miller? Go ahead, Mr. Crane.
one question. I don't know if this is to Yvonne Ramon or to Mr. Miller or to y'all. Who has the official recount document right now? The actual canvas tonight, who has the document?
Miss Natalie has it in her possession, I believe. Yes, it is in her
The
possession.
official canvas
And
recount?
it is in my possession in Natalie's offices.
The only reason I bring that up is you mentioned this, that on that document, you have to note that a recount has been requested for place 4.
Okay. It will be duly noted.
Can I ask some
Trustee
questions?
Alvarado.
Yes, I guess to Mr. Miller. So the recount's been asked, what, is it are we counting paper ballots? I understand that there is a request for a paper ballot. How does that work?
Since the system is a DRE, a direct recording piece of equipment, the Attorney General has deemed, it's called a cast record, which is deemed the ballot. So she has asked for a manual recount, which will then require every single choice with that race to be printed. So they will actually have the ballots, the electronic ballots, and count those, and will also then count the paper ballot, which are your mail ballots. So there will be teams counting each of the areas, for early vote, election day, and the mail ballots.
How many mail-in ballots do we have?
We have that on the record.
11 votes
That's right.
for place 4.
And provisionals?
The provisional ballots are actually into the early vote, so I don't have that number in front of me. It is in the record, though.
Okay.
But again, I think McAllen ISD was waiting for one provisional.
Okay.
So everything has been already counted, and everything will be counted. Again, a recount is a count of everything that was already counted.
And I'm asking just because it's been brought up, asked to me, and I don't know the answer. If there is, during the recount, if there is a voter that one party deems to be voted ineligible, that's not what this recount's for. This is just purely just a count.
Exactly. There are no discussions as to the eligibility of anyone who cast a vote, as they were a registered voter at that time.
Okay.
It's just a count what was counted.
Now, if someone wanted a recourse for that, then that's a whole separate matter.
That's correct.
Okay. Thank you.
Yes.
A question is along the same lines, because I also have been, and I don't know all of the answers to these questions. If that recount, if the voters remain anonymous or not?
Oh, yes, sir. You will never know how a voter,
How a particular
the
voter?
choice,
Okay.
how the choice that the voter made will always be anonymous. The only thing you do know, and of course it's public record on our website, is who voted. You know where they voted. We can even tell you what time they voted, but we cannot tell you how they voted.
So, and if you don't mind to piggyback, I'm curious when they count, Who's counting? Is it our team or your team or?
It will be your teams. There will be 4 teams selected. They will work as partners. One person will call out. One person literally will do little stick figures because it's a manual count. So at the end, they will tally, and that number will reflect the number that was cast on Election Day and on early vote and with the mail ballots.
Has there been a manual count like this prior?
Oh, yes, yes.
How long does the process take?
Again, there are over 5,000 ballots,
Right.
and as we discussed already, how efficient and quickly the teams work. Really, we've been there 2 hours, we've been there 4 hours, we've been there all day. So it just depends on the teams and how accurate. That's very important. In fact, today, I was doing the partial manual count that is our responsibility on the mail ballots, and I was the one hearing, and, there was an interruption, and so we got distracted, and I was off by 1, and we had to start again. And so that's what happens, is that there are no erasures. Everything has to be documented exactly as it is heard, and so it just depends on the accuracy of the people that are on the teams.
So if, let's say there's a discrepancy of 2, 3 votes or what have you, do we need to come back and ratify that, Mr. Crane, or how does that work?
You're talking about after the canvass is
Right.
complete? What the law requires, if there's a change in the number of votes, regardless of whether it is for one candidate or another, or changes the total result, regardless of that, you still have to have a canvass of the actual recount, if there's a change.
Is that going to be on the agenda for Monday?
It is currently going to be on the agenda for Monday. If the votes don't change, we'll take no action on that. It's a placeholder right now until we know the results of the recount.
And we will know at the end of the recount, exactly. It's not something that you come back or we come back with a report. The exact numbers of that manual recount, we will know at the end of the day, whatever time they finish.
And you've done manual recounts before?
Oh, yes. Yes.
In the past, how many have you done? I'm just curious.
Every election cycle.
Lately, it's all the time, and in the almost 11 years that I have been there, there has never been a change.
Okay.
The machines are very accurate. The mail ballots, I have an incredible team. We work on accuracy. Everything has to be accurate. And so I always give an example, an analogy of a bank, where at the end of the day, you have to balance, and
Right.
that's what we do.
My last question, thank you for that. On the provisional ballot, if there was a question on someone, that was decided before 7 o'clock on Saturday, the day of the election, right?
That's correct. The ballot board met for the first time on Saturday, and they went ahead and they determined, and who is the ballot board? Those are members from each party. And, the same amount of Democrats as there are Republicans is what we strive for. Those members are elected by the parties and accepted by Commissioner's Court. So those are not people that we know that we hire because they are paid. So then they are selected, and they are the ones that handle all paper ballots, whether, they're mail-in ballots on that day. Now with the new laws that have taken place, whatever has arrived by 7 p.m. on Election Day is counted that day. But now there's a late ballot that if it is postmarked, if on Monday's mail, we have a mail ballot that was postmarked by 7 p.m. on Saturday, we have to count that as well. So that's the second time that the ballot board will come back. Then, of course, if someone, not just our military anymore, before the FPCA, the federal postcard, used to be just for military, and now it's been opened up for anyone who is overseas, the military, their spouse, citizens that are living outside the U.S., they also have an opportunity then to have the ballot arrive even later. So the last day that we had the ballot board come was on the 10th. That was the last day that we could count any ballots that were coming in. So there are actually 4 deadlines now for mail ballots.
And then as a candidate, I had an opportunity to send someone to that or
Definitely.
And of course, I missed it because I know you sent me the email, but I was too busy with the election. But the opportunity to contest it from my perspective was during those times that y'all were.
That's correct.
Okay.
That's correct. We have to post by law, and the candidates are invited, or members are invited to come to witness and be poll watchers during that time.
Okay. Thank you.
Anyone else? Mr. Miller?
That's all, sir.
Mr. Craig?
The only thing lacking at this point is, again, remind you, put that notice, and then now just vote to approve the canvas.
Is there a motion to approve the canvas? So moved.
Second.
It's been moved and seconded. Any questions or comments or discussion on the item? Hearing none, all those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, same sign. Motion carries 5-0. Thank you all very much. At 5:48, I'll ask for a motion to adjourn. So moved. Is there a second? Second. It's been moved to second. If we adjourn, all those in favor say aye.
Aye.
5:49, we are adjourned. Thank you all. Appreciate you all coming out.